wanted to start off by saying I've been enjoying this class so much. I've been seeing you guys grow into beautiful human beings and everything. But I've been wondering about everything you've been doing when it comes to all your structures. You've been making islands, you've been making skyscrapers, and now you're doing bridges. And interestingly enough, you've also been making stories about these bridges and skyscrapers. So I'm thinking about maybe adding elements into your writing to make it a little bit more fun. What I thought about doing was reading to you this story called The Little House. Has anyone ever read this before? Well, yes, sir?
No, but I have that even on
The red truck? Well, this is going to lead to my next question then. Just by looking at the cover, you see, all right, so it says The Little Red House, but it also says right here, her story. Who's that referring to?
The house.
Not the house?
It means the little red house is telling the story. It doesn't have the little red house thought about it. Not about the people, just about the little red house.
Just about the house.
It's about the house.
Well, what I'm wondering is, have you read a story about a non-living thing that has like human emotions? Carolyn?
I saw the picture and I have a book. I think the book is actually from the same author because I can see the line and it's just like the same.
Well, what about in class? I'm pretty sure you read at least one or two stories about it. Yes.
Little red lighthouse.
Yeah, that's right. The Little Red Lighthouse. Also the Great Bridge.
That's one book. It's one book.
Great Bridge.
Yeah, it's one book.
So, as I'm going to start reading this, I want us to start. Oh, does anyone know what it's called when you give a non-living thing human characteristics? Yes. Not fiction. Let's see. Yes, bring it up.
In Harry Potter, it's a madness kind of.
Well, I'm going to
I know.
when you make something that's not alive, it's known as personification. And so what do I mean by giving something that's not alive, or making something not alive alive? Does anyone want to give me an example? How can I do that? How can I make this marker alive? As a mouth. What about its actions? What about its verbs?
Magic.
Magic. I heard someone say talk. Make it talk. That's right. So, make it talk. What else? Yeah, say it. Yeah. That's so right. It's making something a person almost. Yeah. So we can also do that by the apple. Walk. You can make it walk. Run. What about dancing? Yeah, what about dancing? So we have these dolls. So I want you to think or pay close attention to any time in the book you notice that you see these non-living things doing or being alive, pretty much. Like dancing or walking or running or talking, sleeping or singing. I'm going to start right now. Once upon a time, there was a little house, way out in the country. She was a pretty little house, and she was strong and well built. The man who built her so well said, "This little house shall never be sold for gold or silver, and she will live to see our great-great-grandchildren living in her." The little house was very happy. As she sat on the hill and watched the countryside around her, she watched the sunrise in the morning, and she watched the sunset in the evening. Day followed day, each one a little different from the one before, but the little house stayed just the same. So I'm telling you guys to pay attention to the words, but what about the picture? What do you notice about the picture that you see that kind of has like a human quality to it? Ida. The suns are moving.
And then different faces, and it looks like the windows are like its eyes and the doors are
Yeah.
like its nose.
That's right.
And the
What
doorstep
about
is
the,
the mouth.
did someone say,
The doorstep is the mouth.
the doorstep is the mouth? Did I hear that? That's right. In the nights, she watched the moon grow from a thin new moon to a full moon, then back again to a thin old moon. And when there was no moon, she watched the stars way off in the distance. She could see the lights of the city. The little house was curious about the city and wondered what it would be like to live there. We all know how that is, right? Time passed quickly for the little house as she watched the countryside slowly change with the seasons. In the spring, when the days grew longer and the sun warmer, she waited for the first robin to return from the south. She watched the grass turn green. She watched the buds on the trees swell and the apple trees burst into blossom. She watched the children playing in the brook. In the long summer days, she sat in the sun and watched the trees cover themselves with leaves, and the white daisies cover the hills. She watched the gardens grow, and she watched the apples turn red and ripen. She watched the children swimming in the pool. In the fall, when the days grew shorter and the nights colder, she watched the first frost turn the leaves to bright yellow and orange and red. She watched the harvest gathered and the apples picked. She watched the children going back to school. In the winter, when the nights were long and the days short and the countryside covered with snow, she watched the children coasting and skating. Year followed year. The apple trees grew old and the new ones were planted. The children grew up and went away to the city, and now at night, the lights of the city seemed brighter and closer. One day, the little house was surprised to see a horseless carriage coming down the winding country road. Pretty soon, there were more of them on the road and fewer carriages pulled by horses. Pretty soon, along came some surveyors. Does anyone know what surveyors are? There are these people who come and check the land, measure it out, because they're planning to put something there. Let's see what they're planning. Surveyed a little line and in front of the little house. Pretty soon, along came a steam shovel and dug a road through the hill, covered with daisies. Then some trucks came and dumped big stones in the road. Then some trucks with little stones. Then some trucks with tar and sand. And finally, a steamroller came and rolled it all smooth. And the road was done. Okay. Now the little house watched the trucks and automobiles going back and forth to the city. Gasoline stations, roadside stands, and small houses followed the new road. Everyone and everything moved much faster now than before. how's her expression so far? Is it still pretty happy?
Yeah.
She's still smiling?
Yeah.
She's still smiling.
Yeah, she's still smiling.
Wait, I could
She's saying all these new things taking place.
She's always wearing